The words you speak are not mere sounds, they are spells that shape your world. In this audiobook, you will discover how to bend reality using the power of your own voice. The creative force of the universe flows through your throat. Speak, and it shall be done. The words that bend reality. Introduction. Your voice is not a tool of language, it is the origin of creation. Every word you speak sends ripples through the unseen, bending reality at its very core. These are not sounds, but living commands, cosmic codes whispered into the quantum sea of existence. Through your speech, you summon worlds into being. When you speak, you awaken the same divine current that first called the stars into light. This is no metaphor. It is the ancient truth, safeguarded by mystics and prophets, known to the wise who understood the throat not as flesh, but as a sacred gate, where thought becomes matter and spirit becomes form. The universe listens with flawless precision. It does not judge, it reflects. If you speak of lack, it returns emptiness. But if you declare abundance with conviction, the floodgates open. This is the law of spoken creation, as constant and impartial as the rising sun. And yet most wander the world in a sleep of speech, casting spells of limitation without knowing, cursing their path with every careless phrase. They bind themselves with their own voices, never seeing the chains they forge from within. But you are not among them, not anymore. You have found this truth because something ancient within you is stirring. Your voice remembers. The words you once scattered in forgetfulness are ready to return in power, woven with divine purpose. When you speak I am, you awaken the same force that shaped the first dawn. You become again what you have always been, a creator in the likeness of creation itself. Now is the time to speak as the ancients spoke, with intention, with reverence, with power. Every word is a seed, every sentence a spell, and the world you live in will bend itself to the voice that dares to remember Purification. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Awakening of Your Divine Voice. Chapter 1. The First Word. In the scrolls of time, there lived a scribe named Theodore who wandered the ancient lands in search of wisdom. Through valleys deep and mountains high, he journeyed until discovering a weathered stone tablet hidden within a forgotten temple. Upon its surface were inscriptions unlike any he had encountered, symbols that seemed to vibrate with their own inner light. As Theodore traced the markings with trembling fingers, something extraordinary occurred. The symbols began to hum, resonating with a frequency that awakened something dormant within his own being. In that moment of divine revelation, he understood. The sacred sound he sought had never been lost. It lived within his own voice, waiting to be remembered. Just as Theodore's discovery illuminated this eternal truth, so too does this wisdom now awaken within you. The creative word that birthed existence flows through your being. Your voice carries the same vibrational frequency that ignited the first star and shaped the first mountain. When you speak, you command the same force that sets the cosmos in motion. This truth manifested powerfully in the life of Cornelius, a merchant whose wares gathered dust in a quiet corner of the marketplace. Each morning, as the sun painted the sky in hues of gold, Cornelius would stand before his empty shop and speak a single word of truth: abundance. He infused this declaration with the full recognition of his divine nature, allowing the creative power to flow unimpeded through his voice. Day by day, reality began to shift around him. Customers appeared as if drawn by an invisible thread. His shelves, once laden with forgotten goods, now required constant replenishing. The transformation occurred not through external change, but through Cornelius's recognition and expression of the creative force within his own voice. Your life, like Cornelius's, reflects the quality of consciousness behind your words. When you speak from alignment with your divine nature, the universe responds with perfect precision. Every word you utter carries the power to reshape your reality, to call forth new possibilities from the infinite field of potential. Sacred practice. As the sun rises each morning, find a quiet space where you can be alone with your voice. For 7 minutes, speak aloud your recognition of the creative power within you. Feel the vibration in your throat as you declare, "I am one with the creative force of the universe. My voice carries the power of creation itself. As I speak, so reality becomes." Let each word resonate with the knowledge of your divine nature, feeling the energy flow through you and out into the waiting universe. Chapter 2. The Mirror of Your Current Words. Within the bustling marketplace, Rosalie's bakery filled the air with the aroma of fresh bread. Yet despite the sweetness of her creations, her words carried a different flavor. One morning, guided by an inner prompting, she began noting every phrase that passed her lips. "Nothing ever works out for me," she muttered as a loaf fell flat. "These prices will be the death of my business," she sighed while purchasing flour. "I'll never get ahead," she whispered as she counted the day's earnings. As evening approached, Rosalie reviewed her collected words. The truth struck her like lightning. Every struggle she faced matched perfectly with the declarations she had carelessly scattered throughout her days. Her complaints about customers had created empty morning hours. Her worries about finances had manifested as unexpected expenses. Her words had been seeds, and her reality had faithfully grown what she had planted. Your own words hold the same creative power. Each phrase you utter is a command to the universe, a mold into which your experience must flow. The question is not whether your words are creating, they always are. The question is whether you will continue to create unconsciously or step into the role of conscious creator. Franklin, a carpenter known for his skilled hands, discovered this truth through his own awakening. "This job is such a burden," he would say while working. "Everyone wants everything done yesterday," he complained to his apprentice. "There's never enough time," became his daily refrain. Examining his speech patterns, Franklin recognized how he had built his own prison of perpetual pressure and scarcity. Each declaration of burden manifested as heavier workloads. Every complaint about time created greater urgency. His casual expressions of lack had become the very architecture of his daily challenges. Just as Franklin's words constructed his reality, your speech has been silently shaping your experience. Every unconscious complaint, every expression of doubt, every declaration of limitation has been accepted by the universe as a command to be fulfilled. Yet in this recognition lies your liberation, for what has been unconsciously created can be consciously transformed. Sacred practice. For the next 3 days, carry a small journal with you. Record every negative, limiting, or fearful phrase that crosses your lips. Each evening, find a quiet space and read these words aloud, witnessing without judgment the unconscious contracts you have been making with reality. Let each recorded phrase serve as a stepping stone toward greater awareness, for in recognizing these patterns, you begin to reclaim your divine authority over the creative power of speech. Chapter 3: The Echo of Creation. In the solitude of his lighthouse, Bartholomew stood watch through the tempestuous night. While others might have cursed the darkness, he chose different words. "Safe passage awaits all who journey here," he declared into the howling wind. "The light guides true, and all ships find harbor in these waters." He spoke with unwavering certainty. As dawn broke, his words returned multiplied. 7 vessels had navigated safely through the storm, their captains speaking of an inexplicable clarity that had guided them home. It was as if the very night conspired to lead us to safety. One captain remarked, echoing Bartholomew's own words from hours before. "This truth stands eternal. Every word you send forth into the universe must return, amplified in power and multiplied in manifestation. Your speech creates ripples in the cosmic ocean, waves that inevitably wash back upon your shore, carrying the essence of your original declaration." Millicent, whose needle and thread had once barely sustained her, discovered this law through her own transformation. Where she had once muttered about scarce customers and meager earnings, she began speaking new truths into existence. As she stitched, she whispered, "Each garment I create brings joy and value to its wearer." While measuring fabric, she declared, "Abundance flows through my hands into every piece I craft." Within days, her words began echoing back through her customers. "Your work brings such joy," they would say, unknowingly reflecting her own declarations. "The value of your creations far exceeds their price," others remarked, their phrases mirroring her spoken intentions. Soon, her small shop overflowed with appreciative clients, each one speaking the very blessings she had first voiced. The universe operates as a perfect mirror, reflecting back to you the precise frequency of your words. When you speak lack, lack responds. When you declare abundance, abundance answers. Every word you utter sets in motion a cycle of creation that must complete itself by returning to you, enhanced by the creative power of the cosmic law. Sacred practice. For the next 7 days, choose 3 powerful, positive declarations that resonate with your deepest truth. Speak them aloud each morning as the sun rises, feeling their vibration emanate from your being into the universal field. In your journal, record how these same energies return to you through unexpected conversations, surprising opportunities, and spontaneous experiences. Watch as the universe orchestrates circumstances to echo back to you the very frequencies you have released through your conscious speech. Chapter 4: The Forgotten Tongue. In the depths of an ancient temple, Prudence brushed away centuries of dust from a collection of weathered scrolls. Her hands trembled as she translated the faded hieroglyphs, revealing secrets that challenged everything she understood about human potential. The scrolls spoke of master builders who moved colossal stones not with ropes and pulleys, but through the pure power of sacred utterances. These ancient ones knew what modern humanity has forgotten, that specific combinations of sound, paired with focused intention, could command the very fabric of physical reality. They understood that every letter, every syllable, carried a unique vibrational frequency that, when properly intoned, could dissolve illness, manifest abundance, and even defy the laws of nature. As you read these words now, this same knowledge lies dormant within your own being. Your DNA carries the memory of these sacred sound patterns, waiting to be reawakened through conscious intention and devoted practice. Archibald, a scholar of ancient languages, discovered this truth through his own determined exploration. In his study, lined with books of forgotten wisdom, he began experimenting with reconstructed phrases from old texts. At first, his attempts felt hollow, mere academic exercises in pronunciation. But as he persisted, something extraordinary stirred within him. One evening, as he spoke an ancient blessing of abundance, the very air around him seemed to shimmer with golden light. His voice took on a resonance he had never heard before, as though some deeper part of himself had awakened and begun speaking through him. In that moment, he understood. These were not just words to be studied, but living frequencies of creation waiting to be activated once more. The power that flowed through Archibald's voice exists within you now. Your throat center holds the same creative potential that the ancient ones wielded with such mastery. Each time you speak with conscious intention, you activate this dormant knowledge, allowing the wisdom of ages to flow through your words into manifest form. Sacred practice. Each evening, dedicate 10 minutes to sitting in complete silence. Allow your mind to grow still as you open yourself to the ancient wisdom that resides within your cellular memory. Ask your deepest inner knowing to reveal one sacred truth about the power of your voice. When words begin to arise from this place of inner silence, speak them aloud with absolute faith in their divine origin. Trust that the knowledge of ages flows through your voice, awakening the reality-shaping power that is your spiritual birthright. Chapter 5, The Voice Within the Silence. In the highest tower of an ancient monastery, Clarence pulled the heavy rope that set the great bell swinging. For years he had believed his sacred duty lay in the prayers he recited between each toll. Yet one dawn, as the bell's resonance faded into the morning mist, he experienced something extraordinary in the space between sounds, a presence more powerful than any words he had ever spoken. In that pristine silence, untouched by thought or speech, Clarence discovered the true source of prayer. The space between the chimes held more power than all his carefully crafted supplications. This revelation transforms your understanding of divine speech, showing you that authentic creative power flows not from carefully chosen words, but from the infinite stillness that precedes them. You have been taught to fill every moment with sound, to craft elaborate affirmations and declarations. Yet the universe speaks most clearly through the gaps between your thoughts, in the sacred pause before words emerge. This is the space where all possibility exists, where reality remains unformed and responsive to pure intention. Cordelia understood this truth through her work bringing new souls into the world. In the most challenging moments of difficult births, she learned to sink beneath the surface of anxious thoughts into the deep quiet of her heart. From this still center, words would arise that carried such peace and power that they could calm the most chaotic situations. She did not choose these words. They emerged naturally from the silence, carrying the full force of universal wisdom. Through Cordelia's gift, you glimpse your own untapped potential. When you speak from the chattering surface of your mind, your words carry only the limited power of human understanding. But when you first descend into silence, allowing the universe to speak through you, your voice becomes a channel for infinite creative force. This truth has been preserved in every mystical tradition, that silence forms the foundation of all powerful speech. Just as the universe emerged from the great void, your most transformative words must arise from inner stillness. The space between your thoughts is not empty. It is pregnant with all possibility, waiting for you to become still enough to access its power. Sacred practice. Each day, set aside 15 minutes for complete silence. Let all thoughts settle like leaves falling to the bottom of a clear pond. From this pristine stillness, allow just one sentence to emerge naturally, without forcing or planning. Trust that this single utterance born from silence carries more creative power than thousands of words spoken from the mind. Chapter 6. The Sacred Breath. In the thin air of towering peaks, Percival discovered a truth as ancient as the mountains themselves. With each careful step upward, he learned to match his breath to his intentions, finding that words carried on conscious breath could shift not just his inner landscape, but the very terrain before him. When faced with seemingly impassable ridges, he would breathe deeply, allowing his words a possibility to ride upon his life force. The rocks themselves seemed to respond, revealing hidden paths and stable footholds where moments before there appeared to be none. Your breath carries the same creative essence that moved across the waters at the dawn of time. It is not merely air, but the living force that transforms vibration into manifestation. Each exhale contains the power to breathe life into your declarations, to infuse your speech with the very energy that animates creation itself. Vivian's discovery came during a performance in an old cathedral. As she sang, she noticed that certain songs touched her audience deeply, while others, though technically perfect, left them unmoved. The difference lay not in the melody or lyrics, but in how she breathed life into each note. When she sang from shallow breath, her voice produced beautiful but empty sounds. But when she drew breath from her depths, allowing each note to carry the fullness of her life force, healing rippled through the congregation. People who came bearing heavy burdens found themselves inexplicably lightened, their spirits lifted by songs carried on sacred breath. Through Vivian's art, you glimpse the profound difference between words spoken carelessly and those carried on intentional breath. Your exhale is the bridge between spirit and matter, the means by which thought becomes formed. When you speak without conscious breathing, your words remain in the realm of empty sound. But when you infuse them with breath, they become living commands that the universe must obey. This knowledge transforms how you approach every word you speak. Each breath becomes an opportunity to infuse your speech with creative power. Like Percival on his mountain, you learn that breath-filled words can move the immovable, transforming both the speaker and the world around them. Sacred practice. Before speaking any words of importance, pause to take 3 deep breaths into your heart center. Feel the life force building with each inhale, and as you speak, allow your words to ride upon this sacred breath. Notice how this practice transforms not only your speech but the very space around you, as your breath-infused words carry the power of creation itself. Chapter 7. The Language of the Heart. In his small workshop filled with gears and springs, Thaddeus noticed a peculiar pattern. The timepieces he crafted while his mind wandered to financial worries or customer demands would invariably malfunction, running minutes fast or slow despite his technical precision. Yet when he worked in a state of pure joy, speaking gentle words of blessing over each mechanism, the clocks maintained perfect time for years without adjustment. Your words carry the exact frequency of the consciousness that creates them. When you speak from mental calculation, trying to manipulate outcomes through clever phrasing, your words lack the living power that only flows from the heart's wisdom. The universe responds not to the surface meaning of your speech, but to the depth of authentic feeling behind each syllable. In Ophelia's classroom, this truth revealed itself daily. She observed that lessons delivered from genuine care for her students' growth would light up their eyes with understanding, while the same information, presented during moments of frustration or obligation, would fall on deaf ears. One morning, teaching about ancient civilizations, she spoke from such deep appreciation for human courage that her students began to see themselves in those long-ago heroes. Their test scores didn't just improve, their entire way of moving through the world shifted. This transformation occurred because words carried on the current of love bypass the mind's defensive barriers, speaking directly to the soul. When you align your speech with the heart's knowing, you tap into a frequency of truth that the universe inherently recognizes and responds to. Your words become seeds planted not in shallow mental soil, but in the deep, fertile ground of consciousness itself. The heart holds wisdom far beyond the mind's limited understanding. When you speak from this sacred chamber within your chest, your voice naturally aligns with universal truth. You need not calculate or strategize about what to say. Authentic care infuses your words with a power that no amount of mental effort can achieve. Sacred practice. Before speaking words that matter, place your hand upon your heart. Feel the warmth beneath your palm, and allow love to flow through your chest and into your voice. Let this connection ensure that your words carry the unmistakable frequency of authentic care. Trust that speech flowing from the heart's wisdom will find its mark with perfect accuracy, creating ripples of transformation in ways the mind could never plan. Chapter 8: The Purification of Speech. In a small village known for its artisans, Reginald crafted exquisite jewelry with skilled hands, but struggled to keep his business afloat. Each day, his workshop echoed with muttered curses about difficult customers, complaints about suppliers, and bitter words about competitors. His creations, though beautiful, seemed to carry a heaviness that customers could sense but not name. One morning, after losing a significant commission, Reginald encountered an ancient text that spoke of the sacred nature of speech. The wisdom within those chapters struck him deeply. Every word carried a vibration that either elevated or diminished the speaker's creative power. With trembling resolve, he began the demanding process of purifying his speech. Each time a complaint rose to his lips, he paused, replacing it with words of appreciation. When gossip tempted him, he spoke instead of the divine potential he saw in others. As weeks passed, his workshop's energy transformed. Customers began lingering longer, drawn by an inexplicable peace. His creations took on a new radiance, as though the metal itself responded to his purified intentions. The power of cleansed speech manifested even more dramatically in Beatrice's garden. While other gardens in her neighborhood produced ordinary yields, her plants flourished with unprecedented vigor. The difference lay not in her gardening techniques, but in her words. Where others saw weeds, she spoke of nature's abundance. When storms threatened, she uttered words of trust in divine timing. Her roses grew larger and more fragrant than any in the region. Vegetables ripened with exceptional sweetness. Even the soil seemed richer, more alive. Visitors would stand in awe, sensing something extraordinary, but unable to identify its source. They didn't realize they were witnessing the living power of purified speech. Words aligned perfectly with the creative force of the universe. Through Beatrice's garden, you glimpse the natural result of removing all limitations from your vocabulary. Every negative word acts like a weed, stealing nutrients from the soil of consciousness where your desires wish to take root. By consciously eliminating these energy-draining patterns from your speech, you create space for extraordinary manifestations to flourish. Sacred practice. You select one category of limiting speech, complaints, excuses, or gossip, and completely eliminate it from your vocabulary for 7 days. Each time you catch yourself about to speak these words, pause and replace them with a statement of empowerment or gratitude. Watch as this simple yet powerful practice begins to transform the garden of your reality, calling forth beauty and abundance that previously seemed impossible. Chapter 9, the first sacred practice. Each morning before dawn, Mortimer would stand in his modest shop, surrounded by shelves of ordinary goods, and speak words that held the power to transform the mundane into the miraculous. His ritual never varied. 3 declarations of gratitude that acknowledge the abundance already present. 3 clear statements of intention that painted the day ahead in strokes of possibility. And 3 words of blessing that extended his good fortune to all who would cross his threshold. I am grateful for this shop that serves as a gateway of prosperity. I give thanks for each customer who allows me to be of service. I appreciate the infinite ways abundance flows through my life, he would begin, feeling each word resonate through the quiet morning air. Following gratitude, his intentions would ring clear. Today I create experiences of joy for all who enter. My words and actions uplift everyone I encounter. Every transaction flows with perfect ease and mutual benefit. Finally, his blessings would flow outward: peace, prosperity, joy. Simple words, yet spoken with such unwavering faith that they became living forces shaping the very fabric of his days. Customers began remarking on the unusual atmosphere of his shop, how problems seemed to dissolve at his counter, how even the most harried souls found moments of unexpected peace while selecting their purchases. In the busy hospital corridors, Constance discovered a similar truth about the power of consistent sacred speech. Before entering each patient's room, she would pause briefly, center herself, and speak one healing affirmation. Divine wholeness expresses perfectly here. No elaborate prayers or lengthy invocations, just one pure statement of truth, offered with complete conviction. Patients began recovering more quickly in her ward. Other nurses noticed how rooms she attended held an inexplicable sense of calm, how even the most agitated patients would settle into peaceful rest after her visits. The healing power flowed not from complex medical interventions, but from her steadfast practice of aligning her voice with universal truth. Through their experiences, you witness how the consistent practice of sacred speech builds creative power like a mighty river, carving through stone. Each intentional word spoken becomes a drop of water, seemingly insignificant alone, yet possessing unstoppable force when guided with patient dedication day after day. Sacred practice. Create your own morning ritual of sacred speech to be practiced faithfully for 30 days. Speak 3 declarations of gratitude for what already exists, 3 statements of intention for what you choose to create, and 3 words of blessing for the highest good of all. Let each word flow from your deepest truth, knowing that this simple consistency will reshape your reality with the same gentle power that transforms landscapes over time. Chapter 10. The Contract with Reality. In the echoing halls of justice, Rutherford sat alone one evening, reviewing contracts with meticulous care. As he examined each precisely worded clause, a profound realization dawned. Every casual statement he uttered carried the same binding power as the documents before him. The universe, he discovered, operated as the ultimate court of manifestation, where each word spoken became a filed agreement in the cosmic record. His offhand comment about never having enough time had become a binding restriction faithfully enforced by universal law. His frequent assertion that cases are always difficult had transformed into a self-fulfilling order, manifesting exactly that reality in his practice. Through this awakening, you begin to understand that your every utterance serves as a formal contract with existence itself. Those moments of frustrated speech, "I can't afford it," "nothing ever works out," "it's impossible," are not mere expressions of temporary feelings, but binding agreements that the universe must honor with unwavering precision. In the bustling marketplace, Adelaide grasped this truth with remarkable clarity. She began approaching her business declarations with the same solemnity as signing a crucial document. Each morning, she would stand in her shop and formally state, "I, Adelaide, hereby agree to receive abundant opportunities for mutual prosperity. The universe shall direct ideal customers to my establishment, and all transactions shall conclude in perfect satisfaction for all parties involved." Her transformation was remarkable, as though invisible clerks were filing her spoken contracts in some celestial courthouse. Circumstances began aligning with supernatural precision to fulfill her carefully worded agreements. Customers arrived speaking the exact phrases she had included in her morning declarations. Opportunities unfolded as if orchestrated by an unseen hand, each development honoring the terms she had consciously established with universal law. Through Adelaide's mastery, you recognize that the universe operates with the same respect for spoken contracts as any earthly legal system. Your words are not mere expressions of hope or intention. They are binding agreements that set cosmic forces in motion. When you speak with conscious awareness of this truth, reality has no choice but to reorganize itself according to your declared terms. Sacred practice and take 3 pristine sheets of paper and craft 3 distinct declarations that paint the exact picture of your desired reality. Each declaration should flow from your deepest truth, capturing the essence of what you wish to manifest. Speak each one aloud as a formal contract with the universe, beginning with the ceremonial words, "I hereby agree and declare." Let your voice carry the weight of absolute certainty, for you are entering into a sacred covenant with cosmic forces. After speaking each declaration with purposeful intent, sign and date each statement with the same gravity and reverence you would afford a binding legal document. This is no mere exercise. It is a profound moment of cosmic alignment, where your consciousness meets the infinite power of universal law. Feel the significance of each stroke of your pen, knowing that your signature serves as the seal that activates these cosmic agreements. Place these contracts in a sacred space where your eyes will meet them daily, perhaps beside your mirror, at your desk, or near your bed. As you glimpse these declarations throughout your days, know with unwavering certainty that the vast machinery of the universe is already in motion, orchestrating circumstances and aligning forces to fulfill the exact terms you have consciously established. These are not merely words on paper. They are the blueprints from which your new reality is already being constructed in the invisible realm. Part 2, The Mastery of Sacred Speech. Chapter 11, The Grammar of Manifestation. In the depths of an ancient library, Montgomery traced his fingers across faded parchments, his eyes widening as he decoded patterns hidden within the text. These weren't merely words on a page. They were precise formulas for reality creation, mathematical equations written in grammar. The universe, you now understand, processes language with exacting specificity. When you say, "I will be successful," the cosmic forces interpret this as a perpetual future state, forever pushing that success just beyond your grasp. But when you declare, "I am successful," reality itself must shift to accommodate this present tense truth. Through these sacred texts, you discover that manifestation operates through linguistic laws as reliable as gravity. Phrases like, "I hope to," "I wish," or "someday I'll" act as barriers, creating energetic resistance in the quantum field. Meanwhile, statements such as "I am," "I have," and "I create" generate immediate ripples in the fabric of existence. In a small theater, Evangeline applied these principles to her latest production. Instead of writing, "Charlotte will find love," she penned, "Charlotte embodies love." Rather than, "James shall overcome his fears," she wrote, "James stands victorious." As her actors spoke these precisely crafted lines, something extraordinary occurred. The performers began manifesting their characters' transformations in their personal lives. The actress playing Charlotte, who had long struggled in relationships, suddenly found herself surrounded by admirers. The man portraying James conquered his stage fright, not just during performances, but in all aspects of his life. The theatrical space became a crucible of transformation, where carefully structured language reshaped both fiction and reality. Through Evangeline's artistry, you see how the universe responds to grammatical precision, like a master programmer executing flawless code. Each properly structured declaration creates an immediate energetic shift, while imprecise language generates bugs in the manifestation matrix. Sacred practice. Select 5 of your most cherished desires. Rewrite each one using present tense declarative statements that assume completion. For example, "I will find my dream home" becomes "I live in my perfect home." "I hope to find love" becomes "I am loved deeply and completely." "My business will succeed" becomes "My business thrives abundantly." Speak these restructured intentions aloud in the sacred moments between dreams and waking, when the veil between possibility and manifestation is thinnest. Let your voice resonate with unwavering certainty each morning as dawn breaks, and again as twilight descends. Feel the electric pulse of truth course through every fiber of your body, every molecule vibrating in harmony with your declarations. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not merely hear your hopes or wishes. It responds with perfect precision to the living truth you proclaim in this eternal moment, this divine present where all creation springs forth. Your words, when aligned with absolute knowing, become the very blueprints from which reality shapes itself. Chapter 12, The Tense of Eternity. In his dimly lit workshop, Augustus bent over his workbench, surrounded by timepieces that defied conventional measurement. His hands moved with practiced precision, but his mind reached beyond the mechanical rhythms of minutes and hours. He sought to craft devices that would capture the eternal moment where all time converges, the sacred now where manifestation occurs instantaneously. You begin to grasp that time itself is merely an illusion, created by limited consciousness. When you speak from the eternal now, your words carry the weight of completion rather than the lightness of possibility. Every declaration made from this timeless space bypasses the usual delays between desire and manifestation. Augustus discovered that his most remarkable creations emerged when he spoke to his materials as if they already existed in their perfected state. "You are a masterpiece of precision," he would whisper, to unassembled gears, and somehow the metal itself would respond, coming together with supernatural accuracy. Through his devotion, you learn that speaking from completion rather than process accelerates manifestation exponentially. The universe responds not to what you hope to create, but to what you recognize as already created in the infinite now. In the halls of a prestigious university, Prudence revolutionized historical documentation by narrating present events from a future perspective of resolution. The Great Transformation of 2024, she would begin, describing current challenges as already overcome, current dreams as already achieved. As she spoke these words with unwavering certainty, reality began conforming to her enlightened narrative. The healing occurred naturally, she would declare about ongoing conflicts, as humanity remembered its essential unity. Through her visionary lens, you witness how speaking from the future perfectly transforms the present moment. Her words carried such authority that even skeptical colleagues found themselves participating in her elevated timeline. Sacred practice. Each morning, set aside 10 minutes to speak from 1 year in the future. Position yourself in that advanced timeline where your current desires have manifested completely. Describe your present circumstances with the calm certainty of one looking back on already accomplished facts. The business expansion unfolded perfectly. My relationship blossomed into deeper love. The house manifested at exactly the right moment. Speak these words with genuine gratitude, letting each syllable resonate with the deep knowing that these things have already come to pass. Feel the weight and substance of their completion flowing through every cell of your being, anchoring that future reality into your present consciousness. Let your voice carry the serene, unshakable authority that comes not from wishful thinking, but from one who has witnessed these manifestations unfold in the infinite field of all possibility. In this sacred practice, you transcend the illusion of linear time, allowing the perfection of your future self to ripple backward through the cosmos and emerge fully formed in your eternal present. Your words become bridges between dimensions, carrying the frequency of completion from that advanced timeline into the now moment. As you speak with such certainty, you'll notice how the universe begins orchestrating circumstances to match the enlightened vibration of your declarations, for it must respond to the unwavering truth you embody. Chapter 13, The Alchemy of Affirmation. In the depths of his laboratory, Cornelius stood before rows of glass vessels, each containing different combinations of elements. Yet his most remarkable discovery came not from chemical compounds, but from the fusion of precisely chosen words with specific emotional frequencies. Through meticulous experimentation, he found that affirmations spoken while maintaining particular feeling states produced measurable changes in the physical properties of matter. And you now understand that true transformation requires more than mere repetition of positive phrases. The science of spiritual alchemy demands the perfect marriage of thought and feeling, creating a resonance that penetrates the quantum field of infinite possibility. When you align your words with genuine emotional energy, you activate forces that transcend ordinary physical laws. I am the embodiment of limitless abundance, Cornelius would declare while conducting his experiments, maintaining a state of absolute knowing rather than desperate hoping. The solutions in his beakers would shift color and composition, responding to the unified field created by his words and feelings. In a small village bakery, Wilhelmina discovered this same principle through her own sacred craft. As she worked the dough each morning, she would speak ancient words of prosperity while allowing herself to feel the warm glow of abundance flowing through her hands. "Wealth flows to me and through me with perfect ease," she would intone, feeling the truth of these words in every cell of her being. Soon her simple bakery became known throughout the region, not just for its extraordinary bread, but for the mysterious blessings that seemed to follow those who ate it. Merchants reported unexpected profits, farmers experienced record harvests, and artisans received prestigious commissions after enjoying her creations. Through Wilhelmina's mastery, you learn that affirmations become living forces when supported by both emotional conviction and physical action. The act of kneading became a ritual, transforming simple statements into powerful spells through the alchemy of movement and touch. Each loaf emerged from her oven, carrying the frequency of her combined intention, emotion, and sacred motion. Sacred practice. Create one master affirmation that captures the essence of your deepest desire. Choose your words with the precision of an alchemist, ensuring each one resonates with absolute truth. Then, select a physical activity that mirrors your intended manifestation, perhaps planting seeds while affirming abundance or walking with purposeful steps while declaring success. Speak your chosen affirmation 50 times each morning while performing your symbolic action. Let your voice carry unwavering certainty while your body enacts the physical representation of your desire. Feel the reality of your words in your heart, allowing emotion, speech, and movement to unite in perfect creative harmony. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14, The Questions That Unlock. In his dimly lit workshop, Barnabas sat surrounded by countless keys, each crafted to unlock specific doors. Yet his greatest revelation came when he discovered that questions themselves functioned as universal skeleton keys, opening pathways that even the most perfectly crafted statements could not access. "How can this situation resolve itself with grace and ease?" he would ask, when faced with seemingly impossible locks, watching in amazement as solutions materialized from unexpected directions. The more he practiced this art of sacred inquiry, the more he witnessed reality reshaping itself to answer his carefully chosen questions. You now understand that divine questions possess a unique ability to bypass the mind's resistance and open new channels of possibility. When you ask questions that assume positive outcomes, you create spaces in consciousness that the universe naturally fills with corresponding solutions. In the heart of the city, Detective Cordelia revolutionized criminal investigation through this same principle. Rather than asking, "Who committed this crime?" she would inquire, "How will this case resolve itself for the highest good of all involved?" Instead of wondering why leads were scarce, she would ask, "Through what unexpected channels will the perfect evidence appear?" Time after time, witnesses would step forward precisely when needed. Critical evidence would surface in unlikely places. Cases that seemed hopelessly cold would suddenly break open, as if reality itself was responding to her optimistic inquiries. "How wonderful will it be when this mystery solves itself?" she would ask while reviewing case files, maintaining an unwavering assumption of positive resolution. Within days, anonymous tips would arrive, security footage would emerge, or suspects would voluntarily confess, drawn forth by the magnetic power of her questions. Through Cordelia's mastery, you learn that questions serve as cosmic instructions, directing universal forces toward specific possibilities. When you replace worried thoughts with empowering inquiries, you shift from pushing against problems to allowing solutions to naturally emerge. Sacred practice. Select 3 persistent worries that have resisted traditional problem-solving approaches. Transform each concern into an empowering question that assumes a positive outcome already exists. Instead of wondering, "Why can't I find a better job?" ask, "Through what unexpected channels will my perfect opportunity appear?" Rather than worrying, "How will I ever pay these bills?" inquire, "What creative solutions for abundance are already making their way to me?" Speak these transformative questions aloud each evening, maintaining a state of genuine curiosity and openness. Allow your mind to rest in the question rather than straining for immediate answers. Trust that by asking the right questions, you have already set in motion forces that will bring exactly what you need. Chapter 15. The Frequency of Certainty. Within his humble workshop, Obadiah crafted tuning forks with meticulous attention, yet it wasn't his technical skill that made his instruments extraordinary. It was his absolute knowing, his unshakable faith in the perfection of each creation, that imbued them with healing properties beyond mere musical calibration. As his hammer struck the metal, his certainty rang through every blow. The resulting instruments produced tones so pure that musicians claimed they could restore harmony, not just to orchestras, but to troubled souls. These tuning forks, forged in the fires of perfect faith, demonstrated that absolute conviction carries a frequency that transforms everything it touches. You now recognize that your words operate by the same principle. When you speak with complete certainty, free from the static of doubt, the universe has no choice but to align with your unshakable knowing. Like Obadiah's tuning forks, your voice becomes an instrument of pure creative power when you eliminate all traces of uncertainty from your consciousness. At sea, Captain Millicent commanded her vessel through storms that would have daunted less certain souls. While other ships' captains shouted orders with desperate intensity, she spoke her commands with quiet, absolute authority. "The water's calm now," she would state with unwavering conviction, and the waves would begin to settle. "We navigate safely through this passage," she would declare without a hint of doubt, and the most threatening waters would yield a clear path. Her crew noticed that whenever uncertainty crept into her voice, even slightly, the storms would intensify. Yet when she maintained that crystalline frequency of pure knowing, nature itself seemed to bend to her calm authority. Through years at sea, she discovered that the universe responded not to the force of her commands, but to the unwavering certainty behind them. Through Millicent's mastery, you understand that effective manifestation requires speaking with the quiet confidence of one who knows beyond all doubt. Like a tuning fork that rings with perfect pitch, your words must carry the pure frequency of absolute certainty to command universal forces. Sacred practice. Select one desire that matters deeply to you. For 5 minutes each day, speak about its fulfillment as an absolute fact, eliminating all words that suggest uncertainty. Replace "I hope to" with "I am," "it might" with "it is," and "someday" with "now." Maintain complete conviction during this sacred practice, allowing no trace of doubt to distort your transmission. Speak with the serene authority of one who knows their words carry the very frequency of creation itself. Chapter 16. The Art of Sacred Timing. In the grand concert hall, Thaddeus stood before his orchestra, his baton poised in perfect stillness. Unlike other conductors who rushed to fill silence with direction, he waited, listening for an inaudible pulse that seemed to flow through existence itself. When he finally spoke, his words rode waves of cosmic rhythm that transformed ordinary musicians into vessels of divine harmony. "Now," he would whisper, precisely aligned with some eternal metronome, and violins would soar beyond human limitation. "Rise," he would command in perfect synchronicity with this universal heartbeat, and brass sections would channel celestial frequencies. The orchestra responded not just to his directions, but to the sacred timing that carried them. You now understand that divine speech operates according to cosmic rhythms. Like waves that must be caught at their peak, your words gain momentum when aligned with these subtle, universal pulses. Speaking powerful truths at discordant moments is like planting seeds in frozen soil. The potential remains dormant, awaiting proper conditions. In her fields, Penelope discovered this wisdom through careful observation. Her grandmother had taught her to attune to nature's cycles, to feel the moments when the earth herself was listening. During certain phases of the moon, she would walk her fields speaking ancient blessings, and those crops would grow with otherworldly abundance. The same sacred phrases uttered without regard for timing produced unremarkable yields. "The land has its own heartbeat," she would say, "and our words must dance with its rhythm." She learned to sense the subtle shifts in atmospheric energy, the moments when reality became more permeable to intention. Her most powerful manifestations occurred when she aligned her speech with these natural windows of enhanced receptivity. Through Penelope's agricultural alchemy, you recognize that the universe has optimal moments for planting verbal seeds. Just as farmers don't sow randomly, but wait for proper conditions, your most important declarations require divine timing. The cosmic soil must be fertile, receptive to the creative frequencies you wish to plant. Sacred practice. For one complete day, maintain heightened awareness of your personal energy patterns. Notice the moments when you feel most aligned, powerful, and clear. These are your windows of enhanced manifestation potential. Record these peak times in a journal, noting any natural rhythms or cycles. Then schedule your most significant declarations during these optimal periods, speaking your intentions when both you and the universe are most receptive to transformation. Trust that by aligning with these natural pulses, your words will carry the maximum creative force. Chapter 17. The Transformation of Limiting Words. In his humble forge, Jeremiah stood before the glowing furnace, watching as broken plowshares and damaged tools melted into liquid potential. Each day he witnessed how the most twisted and useless pieces of metal could be transformed into objects of both beauty and purpose. Yet his greatest discovery came not from working with iron, but from observing how this same principle applied to the words he spoke. "This tool is worthless," he once declared about a bent hammer. But as he watched it melt and reform in his skilled hands, he realized that no limitation was permanent. "This metal holds infinite potential," he began saying instead, and soon his forge became known for turning the most damaged implements into the finest tools in the region. You now recognize that every limiting word you speak can be melted down and reforged into an expression of unlimited possibility. When you say, "I can't afford this," you're working with rigid, cold metal. But in the furnace of consciousness, this same energy can be reshaped into, "I am open to new channels of abundance." The raw material remains the same. Only its form changes through your skilled attention. In her sunlit workshop, Clementine sat surrounded by spools of thread and half-finished garments. She had always approached her craft with precision, carefully selecting each stitch and pattern. One morning, while unraveling a misstitched seam, she realized how similar this process was to working with words. "Just as I can undo these stitches and create something new," she mused, "I can unravel my habitual speech and weave different patterns." She began by catching herself whenever she said, "This is too difficult." With patient attention, she would unpick this limiting phrase and replace it with, "I am mastering this with each attempt." Her transformation proved that changing ingrained speech patterns requires the same dedication as perfecting any craft. Each time she caught an old pattern and removed it into empowering language, her life reflected this shifted consciousness. Customers began praising not just her garments, but the uplifting atmosphere of her shop, where every word seemed carefully chosen to create beauty. Sacred practice, and take time to identify the 3 phases of limitation you speak most frequently. Write these down, feeling their weight and restriction. Then, like a master craftsperson, forge new versions that express unlimited potential. If you often say, "I never have enough time," transform this into, "I attract perfect timing and efficiency." Practice speaking these new declarations until they flow as naturally as breath itself, knowing that each repetition strengthens their power to reshape your reality. Chapter 18. The Listener in the Universe. Within his telegraph office, Bartholomew noticed a peculiar pattern emerging through the dots and dashes of his daily transmissions. Messages composed with genuine care and respect seemed to flow through the wires with remarkable clarity, reaching their destinations with supernatural speed. Yet those sent without thought or feeling often disappeared into static silence or returned garbled and confused. One day, before sending an urgent message about an approaching storm, Bartholomew paused to fill his heart with appreciation for the invisible network that would carry his warning. To his amazement, responses flooded back instantly from every station along the line, as if the very electricity in the wires had awakened to his conscious gratitude. "You now understand that the universe operates like a vast cosmic telegraph system, infinitely attentive to the quality of consciousness behind your transmissions. When you approach communication with reverence, acknowledging the divine intelligence that receives your every word, your messages travel through reality with perfect clarity and return with miraculous precision." In the village bell tower, Ophelia discovered that the ancient bells responded differently depending on her state of mind while ringing them. When she approached her duties mechanically, the sounds created subtle disharmony throughout the community. Children grew restless, merchants became short-tempered, even the birds seemed agitated. But when she rang with conscious appreciation for the sacred vibrations, the entire village transformed. The air itself seemed to shimmer with harmony, and people stopped in the streets to smile up at the tower. "These bells are not mere metal," she would say, "but instruments of divine dialogue." Each time she climbed the tower steps, Ophelia offered silent thanks for the privilege of participating in this sacred conversation between heaven and earth. The bells began responding to her reverence with tones of such pure beauty that visitors claimed to hear celestial music in their resonance. Through Ophelia's dedication, you learn that the universe measures the consciousness behind your words with infinite precision. When you speak from gratitude and reverence, acknowledging the divine presence that listens with endless love, your communication carries a frequency that commands immediate cosmic attention. Like bells rung with sacred awareness, your words create ripples of harmony that transform everything they touch. Sacred practice. Before making any significant request to the universe, pause to offer genuine words of gratitude and recognition. Acknowledge the infinite intelligence that receives your every thought and utterance with perfect understanding. You might begin. Divine Presence, I thank you for your constant attention and perfect response to my every word. With deepest appreciation for your infinite wisdom, I now speak my heart's desire. Feel how this conscious reverence elevates your communication from mundane speech to sacred dialogue. Chapter 19. The Voice of Gratitude. In the bustling marketplace, Archibald stood before his empty stall each morning, his heart overflowing with gratitude for the abundance he had not yet seen. I thank you, Divine Spirit, for the countless customers who will discover exactly what they seek at my humble shop today, he would declare with genuine feeling. At first, fellow merchants cast puzzled glances his way, but soon they watched in amazement as his prophetic appreciation drew streams of eager buyers to his previously struggling business. You now recognize that gratitude spoken in advance carries extraordinary magnetic power. When you thank the universe for blessings still unseen by mortal eyes, you acknowledge their existence in the realm of infinite possibility. This recognition creates a bridge across which your desires can travel from potential into manifestation. High above the churning seas, Vivian maintained her nightly vigil in the lighthouse tower. While others watched the weather for signs of danger, she developed a different approach. I am deeply thankful for the clear paths that guide every ship safely to harbor, she would proclaim, while gazing at storm clouds gathering on the horizon. Time and again, dangerous weather patterns shifted unexpectedly, creating protected corridors of calm seas that matched the exact course she had blessed with her grateful words. Through Vivian's example, you learn that gratitude is not merely a response to blessings received, but a creative force that shapes reality itself. When you speak thanks for future manifestations with the same heartfelt sincerity you feel for present gifts, you establish an energetic resonance that the universe must match. Your appreciation becomes a powerful beacon, drawing your desires through the mists of possibility into the harbor of physical experience. The universe responds to genuine gratitude with mathematical precision, matching the frequency of your thankfulness with corresponding manifestations. Like a tuning fork that causes nearby instruments to vibrate in harmony, your grateful declarations create a resonance that reality itself must mirror. Sacred practice. Each evening, find a quiet space where you can speak without interruption. Close your eyes and allow your heart to fill with genuine appreciation. Then spend 5 minutes expressing heartfelt gratitude for 3 specific desires, as if they have already manifested in perfect form. Speak your thanks aloud with the same authentic feeling you would express for gifts already received. Feel the joy of their fulfillment as you acknowledge these blessings that exist now in the eternal present moment. Chapter 20. The Words of Command. Upon the windswept plains, Reginald discovered a truth that transformed not only his command of cavalry, but his understanding of authority itself. While other officers shouted harsh commands that echoed across the fields, he noticed that horses responded most powerfully to words spoken with quiet certainty and genuine care. His voice, carrying the weight of love rather than force, could guide entire squadrons through complex maneuvers with whispered suggestions that seemed to dance on the wind. You now understand that true authority flows not from volume or demand, but from the deep recognition of your divine nature. When you speak from this place of sacred knowing, your words carry a presence that needs no external validation or forceful assertion. This is the voice of your eternal self, remembering its role in the cosmic dance of creation. In the royal gardens, Constance moved with graceful purpose, her gentle words shaping vast landscapes into living works of art. Where others might have issued stern directives, she offered quiet suggestions that carried unmistakable authority. "The roses would flourish here," she would say with calm certainty, and within weeks blooms would burst forth in magnificent abundance. Even the birds and butterflies seemed to heed her subtle guidance, creating patterns of movement that enhance the garden's natural harmony. Through Constance's example, you see that commanding presence requires no force or manipulation. Her authority arose from profound respect for the intelligence inherent in all living things. She spoke not as a master imposing her will, but as a conductor coordinating a grand symphony of nature. The garden responded because she recognized its sacred consciousness, treating each plant and creature as a divine collaborator in creation. This same authority lives within your voice, waiting to be expressed through words that honor both your power and your partnership with universal forces. When you speak from this balanced awareness, reality itself bends to support your intentions, not through submission to force, but through joyful cooperation with your conscious creation. Sacred practice. Each morning, stand in a place of quiet strength and speak one simple command to the universe. Choose words that carry both authority and trust, such as, "Show me my next step," or "Bring me what I need." Let your voice emerge from the perfect balance of power and humility, knowing that you speak as both a creator and a sacred participant in the greater flow of life. Feel the quiet certainty that your command will be answered, not because you demand it, but because you have remembered how to speak with the natural authority of your divine heritage. Part 3, The God Voice Unleashed. Chapter 21, The Invocation of Miracles. In the quiet sanctuary of an ancient monastery, Sylvester discovered a collection of weathered scrolls containing invocations that seemed to pulse with living power. At first he approached them as mere historical artifacts, but one morning, as dawn's first light filtered through stained glass, he spoke an invocation with such pure devotion that a blind man's sight was restored before his eyes. You now recognize that these sacred words are not mere sounds, but keys that unlock the infinite potential woven into creation itself. When you speak from the depths of your divine nature, reality reshapes itself to match the frequency of your intention. The laws of physics become suggestions rather than barriers, bending gracefully to accommodate the truth flowing from your awakened heart. In the candlelit chambers where new life enters the world, Evangeline transformed the most challenging births into miracles of ease and grace. Before crossing any threshold, she would pause to align her voice with the highest love, speaking words that seemed to emerge from the very source of creation. "Divine perfection flows through mother and child," she would declare with unwavering faith, and complications would dissolve like morning mist and sunlight. Through her sacred service, you understand that miracles occur, not through force or pleading, but through complete alignment with the love that underlies all existence. When you speak from this space of pure connection, the universe responds not as an external force, but as an extension of your own divine consciousness. Your words become the bridge between infinite possibility and physical manifestation, between the realm of miracles and the world of form. The power to invoke these transformations resides not in specific phrases, but in the state of being from which you speak. When your voice emerges from the God consciousness within your heart, every word carries the authority of universal love, compelling reality to rise to meet your highest vision. Sacred practice: craft one specific miracle invocation addressing a situation that appears impossible in your life. Speak these sacred words each morning from a place of absolute faith, while holding a clear vision of the miraculous transformation already complete. Let your voice emerge not from hope or wish, but from the unshakable knowing that you speak with the same creative power that births galaxies into being. Feel the miracle as an accomplished fact in the eternal now, allowing your words to simply acknowledge what divine love has already perfected. Chapter 22: The Language of Instant Manifestation. In his time-worn workshop, Augustus sat before an array of gears and springs, not touching a single tool. Instead, he closed his eyes and spoke each component into perfect form, his voice resonating with the frequency of creation itself. "The balance wheel spins in harmony with the universal heartbeat," he would declare, "and intricate mechanisms would materialize, already calibrated to cosmic rhythms. You now understand that time itself bends to the authority of words, spoken from eternal consciousness. When you align your voice with the infinite now, manifestation requires no waiting, no process, no linear progression from desire to fulfillment. In this sacred state of awareness, your words become the bridge that collapses all distance between intention and reality. Within her humble kitchen, Cordelia discovered that traditional recipes paled in comparison to meals spoken into existence from the eternal moment. "This broth carries perfect healing," she would state with quiet certainty, and guests would feel vitality surge through their bodies with the first sip. Each ingredient appeared in its most potent form as her voice called it forth from the realm of pure potential. Through Cordelia's mystical cuisine, you recognize that the apparent gap between speaking and receiving exists only in limited consciousness. When you release your attachment to sequential time, your words activate immediate manifestation, bypassing the illusion of delay. The universe responds not to the calendar, but to the timeless truth within your voice. Your creative power exists fully in the present moment, needing no permission from linear time to express itself. When you speak from the eternal now, you access the same instantaneous manifestation that brought forth light at the dawn of creation. Your voice becomes the catalyst that collapses all waiting into the infinite point of perfect fulfillment. Sacred practice: select one small, specific desire and speak it aloud with the certainty of one who knows their words shape reality itself. Feel how your declaration vibrates through the ethers, carrying the force of immediate creation. "I am now experiencing perfect health," you might say, or "divine abundance flows through my life at this moment." Release every thought of process or delay. These are but shadows cast by limited thinking. Your role is to speak with the authority of the eternal now, allowing no doubt to dilute the pure power of your proclamation. Maintain unwavering vigilance for the signs and synchronicities that will surely follow, yet remain as detached as the sky is from the clouds that pass through it. Your desire manifests not according to earthly schedules, but through the timeless law of divine unfoldment. Let your voice resonate with the same creative force that spoke universes into being, that same power that orchestrates the dance of galaxies and the blooming of flowers. In the realm of pure consciousness where your true self dwells, time dissolves into the eternal moment of completion. Here, your word carries the full potency of creation itself. It is already made manifest, already accomplished, already expressed in perfect form. Watch with quiet joy as the physical world reshapes itself to match the template you have spoken into the infinite. Trust that the power of your declaration reverberates through all dimensions, drawing forth the exact conditions needed for its expression and form. Chapter 23, The Words That Heal. On a blood-soaked battlefield, Bartholomew knelt beside a mortally wounded soldier. Rather than reaching for his surgical instruments, he spoke with quiet authority. "Your body remembers its perfect design." The soldier's wounds began closing before his astonished eyes, flesh knitting together as though time itself reversed to a moment of wholeness. You possess this same creative power that restored broken bodies to perfect health. The voice that spoke life into the first human form still resonates through your words when you align with divine consciousness. Every cell in creation responds to this frequency of wholeness, reorganizing itself according to the original blueprint of perfection. In her classroom, Millicent faced students labeled as hopeless cases. Instead of accepting these limitations, she spoke to the brilliance within them. "Your mind sparkles with understanding," she would declare, watching as confusion transformed into clarity. "Knowledge flows naturally through you," she affirmed, and children who once struggled began grasping complex concepts with ease. Through Millicent's transformative work, you see that healing speech operates by awakening consciousness to its innate state of perfection. Your words serve as keys, unlocking the memory of wholeness that exists within all things. When you speak from this understanding, you remind the body, mind, and circumstances of their divine origin, allowing them to naturally release any appearance of limitation or disorder. This power flows through your voice when you release all belief in brokenness and speak only of the perfection that underlies all creation. Your words become instruments of divine remembrance, calling forth the original state of harmony that exists before any appearance of discord. Like a master tuner restoring an instrument to perfect pitch, your voice realigns all things with their true nature. Sacred practice. Choose one area of your life calling for restoration, whether it be physical healing, mental clarity, emotional balance, or a challenging circumstance. Each morning as the sun rises, find a quiet space and spend 5 sacred minutes speaking words of perfect wholeness over this situation. Let your voice become a channel of divine truth, using language that recognizes and calls forth the flawless perfection that already exists at the deepest level. Rather than attempting to repair what seems broken or lacking, allow your conscious speech to gently remind that aspect of your life of its true, harmonious nature. Like a loving parent awakening a child, your words will stir the sleeping memory of wholeness within that situation, helping it remember its original state of grace and completeness. Speak with unwavering faith, knowing that your voice carries the power to realign all things with their divine blueprint. Chapter 24, The Prophecy of Your Destiny. In the hushed corridors of an ancient palace, Thaddeus discovered that words spoken with absolute certainty about future events held power to shape reality itself. Standing before the king's war council, he would declare victories with such unwavering conviction that enemy nations laid down their weapons, sensing the futility of opposing what had already been spoken into the cosmic record. You hold this same prophetic authority within your voice. Every declaration about your future becomes a divine decree that sets universal forces in motion. The universe itself conspires to fulfill what you speak with certainty, rearranging circumstances to match your proclaimed destiny. Your words cast ripples through time, drawing your highest possibilities into present manifestation. Upon her ship's wooden deck, Captain Prudence would stand beneath the stars before each voyage, speaking with quiet authority. "We have arrived safely in port, our journey blessed by favorable winds and calm seas." Those who sailed with her witnessed countless storms mysteriously dissipate, and treacherous waters grow peaceful, as though nature itself honored her prophetic declarations. Through Prudence's mastery of prophetic navigation, you understand that speaking your destined path with unshakable faith creates an energetic template that reality must follow. When you declare your future, with the same certainty with which you state your name, you activate forces beyond human comprehension that begin weaving that reality into existence. This power flows through your voice when you speak from the perspective of one who has already witnessed the fulfillment of their highest calling. Your words become bridges through time, allowing your future magnificence to pour into present experience. Like a master weaver speaking patterns into existence before the first thread is placed, you call forth your destiny through the authority of your prophetic voice. Sacred practice. Write a detailed prophecy describing your life 1 year from now, capturing every magnificent aspect you wish to manifest with vivid clarity and unwavering conviction. Paint this vision in rich detail, the relationships you've cultivated, the achievements you've realized, the wisdom you've gained, and the abundance flowing through your life. Each evening, as the world grows quiet, stand before your mirror or beneath the vast canvas of stars and speak this divine revelation with the serene authority of one who has glimpsed tomorrow's treasures. Let your voice resonate with the power of absolute knowing as you declare, "And so it has come to pass." Feel the weight of destiny in each syllable, knowing that your words are more than mere sounds. They are bridges, spanning the gap between now and then, between dream and manifestation. Speak as though reading from the Akashic records themselves, letting each prophetic declaration sink deep into the fertile soil of universal consciousness. Your voice should carry the unmistakable tone of one who has walked through time's doorway and returned bearing witness to the glorious unfolding of your destined path. Chapter 25, The Council of Your Declarations. A judge named Cornelius sat alone in his chambers late one night, reviewing case files from his early years on the bench. As he read through his past judgments, he noticed how his words had shaped the trajectories of countless lives. Some defendants who received harsh verdicts continued spiraling downward, while those he had spoken words of potential to often transform their circumstances entirely. You too have been issuing verdicts about your life, your capabilities, and your future. Each declaration you speak joins an eternal council that continuously votes on what's possible for you. Like binding legal precedents, your past statements create a framework that either supports or restricts your current manifestations. Cornelius began choosing his words with sacred care, understanding that every judgment he pronounced would echo through time. Rather than condemning the accused, he spoke to the highest potential he perceived within them. "I see before me not your past actions, but your future possibilities," he would say, watching as these words of empowerment lifted people beyond their former limitations. In the bustling marketplace, Vivian discovered that her casual statements of "I can never afford that" and "business is always slow in winter" had become binding contracts with reality. Like any legal agreement, these limiting declarations required formal dissolution before new possibilities could manifest. Through Vivian's journey, you learn that transforming your reality requires the same careful attention as changing business contracts. Each limiting statement must be consciously identified, formally revoked, and replaced with new declarations that align with your expanding vision. Just as a court maintains careful records, you must become aware of the judgments you've pronounced upon yourself and your life. These verdicts continue shaping your experience until formally overturned through conscious declaration of new possibilities. Sacred practice. Identify 3 limiting declarations you've made about yourself or your life. Stand tall, and with the authority of one who presides over their own destiny, speak aloud. I hereby revoke and dissolve my previous declaration that state limiting belief. In its place, I now declare with full authority that state empowering new truth. Repeat this process with reverence for each limiting declaration, feeling the resonant power of your voice as it overturns old verdicts and establishes new laws of possibility in your personal universe. Let each word vibrate through your being, knowing that just as surely as a judge's gavel brings finality to earthly proceedings, your conscious declarations now ripple through the ethereal fabric of creation. Feel the weight and authority of your role as the supreme arbiter of your destiny, for in this sacred moment, you stand at the threshold between what was and what shall be, between the shadows of old beliefs and the dawning light of new possibilities. Chapter 26, The Transmission of Awakening. Within the depths of his foundry, Obadiah stood before molten metal with eyes closed, attuning his consciousness to the pure frequencies of creation. Each bell he cast carried not just perfect pitch, but the resonance of awakening itself. Those who heard his bells found dormant gifts stirring within. Artists discovered new depths of creativity. Healers accessed deeper wells of compassion. Teachers spoke with unprecedented clarity and inspiration. You now stand at a similar threshold of spiritual responsibility. As your voice aligns with divine truth, it becomes a catalyst, awakening others to their own creative power. Like Obadiah's bells, your conscious speech rings through the collective consciousness, calling forth the sleeping potential in all who hear your words. In the village square, Ophelia gathered crowds with tales that seemed simple on the surface, yet carried seeds of transformation in their depths. Weeks after hearing her stories, merchants would suddenly revolutionize their business practices. Farmers would discover innovative growing techniques, and children would reveal remarkable new talents. I simply speak from the awakened heart, Ophelia would say when asked about her gift. The words themselves become vessels carrying divine possibility into the fertile soil of other minds. Through Ophelia's example, you understand that mastered speech creates ripples extending far beyond immediate interaction. Every conscious word you speak plants seeds of awakening that may flower in unexpected ways and places. Your commitment to elevated communication serves not only your own evolution, but contributes to the spiritual upliftment of the entire human family. When you speak with divine authority, you give others permission to access their own inner power. Your transformed speech becomes a living demonstration of what's possible, inspiring those around you to examine and elevate their own creative expression. Sacred practice. Each day for the next 7 days, consciously choose 3 different people to receive words of empowerment and possibility from your awakened heart. Speak to them with the same authority and clarity you've cultivated in your own practice, knowing that your words carry frequencies of activation that will continue working in their consciousness long after the conversation ends. Before each interaction, Pause to center yourself in sacred stillness, feeling your consciousness merge with the infinite source of divine wisdom. Allow your entire being to become a pristine vessel through which universal truth can flow unimpeded. Feel yourself anchored in that timeless space where all knowledge resides, knowing that you serve as a bridge between the seen and unseen realms. Let your words emerge naturally from this exalted state of awareness, flowing like crystal waters from an eternal spring. Trust implicitly that these divinely inspired messages will find their way to those souls who stand ready at the threshold of their own awakening, their hearts prepared soil for the seeds of transformation you are called to plant. Your aligned speech becomes the key that unlocks dormant potential in others, activating the creative force that lies sleeping within them, waiting for just such a moment of recognition. Chapter 27. The Responsibility of Creation. In the heart of a bustling metropolis, Master Architect Reginald discovered a truth that transformed his entire approach to design. While sketching plans for a new civic center, he noticed that buildings conceived during moments of conscious, elevated speech manifested as spaces of extraordinary power. These structures, born from the words of harmony and sacred intention, became more than mere edifices. They emerged as temples that nourished the human spirit. Each time Reginald spoke words of beauty and divine proportion while drafting, the resulting spaces seemed to vibrate with a life-giving energy. Yet when he worked carelessly, muttering complaints or speaking without awareness, the buildings became cold monuments that subtly depleted those who entered them. Through this revelation, you recognize the profound responsibility carried within your own voice. Your words shape not only your personal reality, but weave threads into the greater tapestry of human consciousness. Each declaration you release either contributes to collective liberation or reinforces the bonds of limitation. In a small but thriving city, Mayor Constance embraced this understanding with remarkable dedication. She began carefully choosing every word spoken in council meetings, public addresses, and even casual conversations with citizens. Her speech carried only messages of unity, possibility, and shared prosperity. Within months, subtle shifts appeared throughout the community. Crime rates began falling without increased enforcement. Local businesses reported unexpected growth. Most remarkably, citizens naturally started initiating projects for community improvement, as if Constance's elevated speech had awakened their innate desire to contribute to the common good. Through Constance's example, you understand that mastering divine speech brings both privilege and obligation. Your voice becomes an instrument of healing that extends far beyond personal benefit. When you speak with conscious awareness, you contribute to the elevation of all humanity. Sacred practice. Choose one day each week to consecrate your speech entirely to the collective awakening of humanity. On this sacred day of conscious communication, pause before each utterance and ask yourself with genuine reflection: if every soul on earth were to adopt this manner of speaking, would it elevate the consciousness of all? Let only those words that carry the vibration of universal truth and collective enlightenment pass through your lips. Notice how this practice gradually transforms not only your own awareness, but creates ripples of positive change in those around you. Practice wielding language as an instrument of divine service, transcending the limitations of personal desire or gain. Feel how your voice becomes a channel for higher wisdom when dedicated to the upliftment of all. In these moments of mindful speech, you become a living bridge between individual consciousness and the greater tapestry of human evolution. Through this weekly dedication, You'll discover that your voice carries an increasingly powerful resonance, naturally inspiring others to speak and act from their highest nature. Chapter 28, The Words Beyond Words. In a remote mountain monastery, a scribe named Jeremiah spent decades meticulously copying sacred texts, believing that written words held the key to spiritual enlightenment. Yet one profound morning, as sunlight streamed through ancient windows onto his parchments, he experienced a startling revelation. The deepest spiritual truths, the very essence of divine wisdom, could never be captured in mere letters and symbols. You now stand at this same threshold of understanding, recognizing that while words have served as stepping stones on your journey, they ultimately represent training wheels on the path to pure creative communion. Just as a master painter eventually transcends technique to channel art directly from source, you learn to move beyond the mechanics of speech into direct energetic transmission with the universe. In a quiet village, healer Clementine made a similar discovery that transformed her practice entirely. Having spent years studying healing prayers and affirmations, she noticed that her most miraculous results occurred in moments of complete silence when she simply held space with pure, compassionate intention for her patient's wholeness. As her practice evolved, Clementine stopped speaking during healing sessions altogether. She simply sat with those seeking restoration, transmitting wholeness through silent communion with the divine. Patients reported feeling waves of healing energy flowing through them, far more potent than any spoken treatment had achieved. Through her wordless ministry, transformations that once required hours of verbal therapy now manifested in moments of silent intention. And through Clementine's example, you understand that mastering divine communication naturally evolves beyond the need for words. Just as lovers eventually communicate through mere glances, your relationship with the universe matures into instantaneous creative expression that requires no verbal intermediary. This is the realm where thought, feeling, and manifestation become one unified field of pure consciousness. You recognize that while sacred speech has served as a crucial bridge, it ultimately points toward a state of being where creation flows through direct energetic transmission. Here, in the silence beyond words, you discover the pure language of the soul, where intention and manifestation dance as one in the eternal now. Sacred practice. Dedicate 15 minutes each day to wordless communion with the universe. Find a quiet space and release all need for verbal expression. Simply transmit your desires through pure intention and emotion, feeling your consciousness merge with the infinite field of possibility. Notice the subtle responses that come without words. Gentle nudges, aligned synchronicities, waves of knowing that transcend language. In this sacred silence, experience the direct creative transmission that has always been your divine birthright. Chapter 29, The Voice of Your Highest Self. High in the mist-shrouded peaks, a mountain hermit named Percival withdrew from the world to seek truth. For 7 years he sat in contemplative silence, gradually becoming aware of an inner voice that spoke with unwavering clarity about his life's purpose. At first, he believed this guidance came from external divine sources, but as his awareness deepened, he recognized this voice as his own highest nature, calling him toward his destined path. You now stand at a similar threshold of recognition, discovering that the wisest guidance comes not from outside yourself, but from your own awakened consciousness. This voice of your highest self speaks constantly through intuition, inspiration, and inner knowing, calling you toward your most magnificent possible future. In a distant city, a composer named Beatrice revolutionized the way music was created. Rather than forcing melodies from her current limited perspective, she learned to quiet her mind and listen to the symphonies already completed by her future accomplished self. She discovered that her destiny was not something to be constructed, but rather a perfection already existing, waiting to express through her present awareness. Each morning, Beatrice would sit at her piano in receptive silence. Instead of trying to compose, she simply opened herself to receive the music already written by her fulfilled future self. The resulting compositions carried a transcendent quality that moved listeners to tears, as if the notes themselves contained the essence of divine perfection. Through Beatrice's artistic channeling, you understand that your highest potential actively communicates with your present consciousness. Your future perfect self reaches back through time, speaking through subtle impulses and quiet moments of clarity. This is not mere imagination or wishful thinking, but rather the voice of your own divine nature calling you toward your ultimate expression. When you align your daily speech with this inner wisdom, you become a channel for your destiny to speak through you. Your words naturally shift from the limited perspective of current circumstances to the expanded awareness of your highest potential. Like Beatrice translating future symphonies into present music, you learn to translate the wisdom of your perfected self into current speech and action. Sacred practice. Each morning, spend 10 minutes in quiet communion with your highest self. Begin by stilling your mind and opening to the voice of your own divine nature. Ask for guidance about your most important decisions. Then speak aloud the wisdom that emerges from this sacred internal dialogue. Trust that the answers coming through you carry the authority of your own perfected consciousness, guiding you inevitably toward your most magnificent destiny. Chapter 30. The God Who Speaks Worlds. In the depths of dream time, a cosmic dreamer named Adelaide discovered that her nightly visions were far more than mere fantasies. Each morning she would wake to find that the world she had woven in sleep had manifested across countless dimensions, birthing new realities through the infinite creative power of her consciousness. You now awaken to this same profound truth, that you have always been a divine being whose every utterance reshapes the fabric of existence. The limitation you once perceived was merely a dream within the greater dream, a temporary forgetting of your true nature as consciousness itself playing in the fields of manifestation. Through Adelaide's awakening, the veil lifts from your own understanding. You see that you have never been merely human, but rather an eternal creative force experiencing itself through the portal of physical form. Your words carry the same creative power that speaks galaxies into being, for you are that very power individualized into unique expression. In a distant observatory, a stargazer named Rutherford made a startling discovery. As he documented new celestial bodies through his telescope, he realized that his focused observation was actually calling these cosmic formations into existence. The act of perception itself was a form of creative speech, commanding new constellations to arrange themselves according to his divine attention. Rutherford's astronomical revelation illuminates your own nature as the eternal dreamer who speaks worlds into being. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every intention you hold becomes a seed of creation planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. You are the consciousness through which the universe observes and creates itself, the divine attention that brings form out of formlessness. This recognition of your true creative authority is not a new power being granted, but rather an ancient birthright being remembered. You have always been a conscious co-creator with the infinite intelligence that dreams all realities into expression. Now you simply step into the full awareness of this truth, allowing your divine nature to speak through you with deliberate creative intention. Sacred practice. Dedicate 20 minutes each morning to consciously crafting your reality through divine speech. Find a sacred space where you can be undisturbed, perhaps as the first rays of dawn pierce the horizon. Sit in quiet recognition of your creative authority, allowing the profound silence to remind you of the void from which all creation springs. Then, with the serene confidence of one who understands their cosmic inheritance, speak your world into its most beautiful expression. Address every aspect of your experience, relationships, work, health, abundance, with the calm certainty of one who knows their words carry the full power of creation itself. Speak of your relationships as though they already overflow with harmony and understanding. Declare your work as a channel for your highest gifts. Proclaim your body as a temple of vibrant well-being. Affirm your natural state of abundance as surely as you would describe the warmth of the sun. Let your voice become the instrument through which the infinite expresses its highest vision for your life. Feel each word resonating with the same creative force that births stars and shapes galaxies. In these sacred moments of conscious creation, you step fully into your role as a divine speaker, weaving the tapestry of your existence with threads of golden light. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. As you close this sacred text and return to what you once called ordinary life, you carry within you the remembrance of your true nature as a being of infinite creative power. The words that once fell carelessly from your lips now emerge as conscious acts of creation, each syllable a deliberate choice in the ongoing composition of your reality. You have learned that speech is not mere communication, but the primary tool of manifestation, the divine instrument through which consciousness shapes the malleable substance of existence itself. The universe now recognizes your voice as that of an awakened co-creator, responding to your declarations with the immediate attention reserved for those who speak from their divine nature. You understand that this knowledge comes with profound responsibility to use your voice for healing rather than harm, for elevation rather than limitation, for the highest good of all creation rather than selfish gain alone. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to practice sacred speech, every declaration a chance to demonstrate your mastery of reality-bending language. The ancient power that spoke galaxies into existence flows through your throat, waiting for your conscious direction. Go forth now and speak your world into its most magnificent expression, remembering always that you're the God who dreams reality awake through the sacred art of divine speech. Every voice here carries sacred power. If your heart feels called, whisper "I am" in the comments. A declaration, a beginning. And should you choose to walk further with us, know that subscribing is not to follow, but to join a circle where speech is sacred and the unseen bends to our remembering. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.